All right, new day and another laptop that needs to be saved, and this time we have an XPS 7590. Now, here's a funny one. This customer said that this laptop no longer turns on after a Windows update, but they opened it up and found a burnt chip on the board. I don't think Windows is now blowing up chips on the board, but I haven't taken a look at this yet. Let's take a look together and see if we can get this figured out. All right, so if you're seeing something burned on the board, it's probably not the Windows update that's caused that. So I don't know if it's, coincidence or maybe it's a combination of things, but let's go ahead and just see if it turns on. And they did mention something about the board getting hot when the battery's not connected. I don't know what that pertains to, what that means, but let's keep an eye on the power meter here. Ooh, okay. Did you see that? Plugged it in and it just kind of jumps up for a second. Here, let's turn on Spike's power meter here. Their actual chart, so we can actually see the inrush current and the spike. It just kind of jumps up for a second, there you go, and then goes back down to 0. Now, if you look at the current should be sitting at 0.02 or 20 milliamps is the resting current for this machine. It's sitting at 0. Usually what that means is it's detecting some sort of short on the board and it's shutting it off, so that initial spike, which isn't spiking it very much, but it is spiking to 70 milliamps or so, and then shutting back off, is indicative of some sort of damage on the motherboard. Now, this could be some sort of power management chip or some sort of short on like a lower power rail, not on the main power rail. They said they saw a burnt chip. I don't think it has to do with the BIOS update, but we never know. But let's go ahead and open up the bottom and take a look inside. All right, and the bottom is off. Take a quick look around. We do have an OEM battery here, which is nice. It has a serial number. This thing only has one NVMe slot and it is populated, 2 sticks of DDR4 memory. Everything looks pretty clean. The laptop is a little bit older. It's probably like a 2019 model, but it looks like it's in pretty good condition. Now, I don't know what chip they were saying they saw burnt on the board. I'm not seeing anything right off the bat, but we can take a quick look around under the microscope and see if we can find something. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and start over here. This is where the DC jack plugs in. You can see it plugs in right here on the board. So this is actually a barrel style jack. We can also have a USB-C that we could actually try out, but that's where it plugs in. Ooh, and we do see something burned right there. Look at that. Interesting. So that actually looks like it may be a capacitor. That might be something very simple to repair. Battery's still plugged in. Let me go ahead and just unplug that. All right, battery's unplugged. Let's just go ahead and keep looking around. There's our chipset. There's a couple DDR4. This is going to be the power for the chipset, I believe. And there's our keyboard and touchpad connections. That's for a 2.5-inch SSD. And I think it's for our 3-volt or 5-volt power rail. And there's our audio chip, fan connector. And there's our Wi-Fi card. And then here's our power phases for the CPU and GPU. All of that looks fine too. So let's go ahead and turn our attention to this little spot right here. Now that's kind of interesting. Do we think that this Windows update caused a surge on the board? No, I don't think so. I think it's totally unrelated. It's probably not even Windows update related. Let me pull all this stuff off so we can take a better look at it. I'm gonna have to take all these mounts off. This is a bracket that holds the LCD screen on there, and I need to be able to pull this plastic cover off. And I'll pull this fan out too. If we do have to replace a part on here, most likely we will pull the board, but maybe we can just do it with hot tweezers and not have to pull the motherboard out. But we want to figure out what the damage is. Do we have like a blown trace on the board or something like that where we have to rebuild it, or is it just a shorted capacitor and we can just replace the capacitor? That would be nice. So we're just gonna set all this stuff off to the side and let's get back under the microscope. Okay, well, this looks like good news to me. Now this is right next to the PD controller. I believe that's the PD controller. Yeah, it is, TPS 65982. So it's the power delivery chip for the USB-C. So they may be using this with a dock or something like that, or using it as with a charger, but you can see the actual crack. There's a crack right there on that capacitor, and there's a crack on the capacitor right next to it. So both of these are damaged and they will need to be replaced, but you can see the lines right here. And this one's probably damaged too. So we'll replace both of those and that should resolve the issue. I bet the board will come right back on after that. Now I don't know if the PD controller is bad. We would have to replace that in order to fix that issue if that's what's going on. This probably isn't the main power rail, but it could be. Maybe this board's protecting itself, the way that's supposed to. Because the way it works is you have 20 volts coming in on this machine, and then it will reduce that 20 volts down to battery voltage. And I believe on this machine, the battery is 11.1, so it's 12.6 is the fully charged, but I think this thing runs at like 13.6 is the board voltage. And this capacitor may be on that rail, which is technically the main power rail, but it's not the main 20 volts, and that's why it's not shorting out and shutting off. Does this look a little suspicious too? Look at that. Look at that heat around that. I'm not sure. Are you on board with me on that? Because that looks a little weird. So we may address that too, and we might need to pull out the board. Maybe there's some more stuff going on the other side of the board, but most of the time when I see a cracked capacitor like this, it's just a cracked capacitor and that's it. So let's go ahead and just take some measurements and kind of figure out or get our bearings on like you know, what condition the short is, so that way we know that we resolved it at the end. So I just have one side of the probe on ground and the other side on our components here, and see, it should beep. So we have a short, so this is shorted across here, and I'm gonna check right here, see if this is shorted. Now this isn't shorted. One side's gonna be ground, one side's gonna beep, and the other side should not beep. Now this is hot. I don't know what's going on here, but I still feel like while we're here, let's just replace that, right? So let's remove both of these components. I'm just gonna use some hot tweezers and see if we can get it off without having to pull the board out right this second. We still may end up pulling the board. This right here is our pin 1 on our Thunderbolt controller, so I don't want anyone to think that that's like a burn hole or anything like that. But we always have a pin 1 mark on all of our chips to kind of tell us which direction or orientation we put things, and that one does kind of look a little suspicious. But are we supposed to have a component right next to this? Let me grab a donor board so we can kind of take a look at what's supposed to look like in this area. Well, I don't know if you can see it, but I have a stack of these boards. They use this exact kind of format for a few generations now. They modified them a little bit, but the board looks like this, and there's about 4 generations that look exactly like this. And the layout does change a little bit based on what year it is. So this one actually is an older version of that board, so it's not gonna look the same. So let me see if I can find the right one. All right, so I did find the same board, and this one's not discolored in that area, so we will be just transferring this capacitor over. Now, I don't think it's the capacitor is the issue, but I just don't know why it looks like that around that. It almost looks like a lot of heat. And it could be that this area is maybe this whole thing runs over here, right? So if this is shorted out and we have voltage or current coming through this area and it's kind of backing up, then it will cause that kind of heat in that area. So that maybe is what's going on. And I wouldn't be surprised that we may have another burn component, because a lot of times if you have kind of a bottleneck or a short in an area, it has to go through another chip on the way. It blows out that chip too. So we're gonna have some fun. So I don't think this is gonna be as easy as just changing out the capacitors. Sometimes people look at that and say, oh, well, that's just an easy fix. Well, we're not gonna call this one an easy pizza right this second, right? It may be something more like an easy lobster dinner when we're done, which means that it is a little bit more work, but it was still salvageable. All right, so let's go ahead and get these two removed off of here. So I'm gonna add a little bit of flux. I am using the hot tweezers. Now, hot tweezers work okay on thinner boards, and this board is a little bit thinner. Not as thick as like an Alienware. May still need to add a little bit of additional heat, and so when I do that, I usually use like a 300 degrees C, so it's not gonna melt anything around it. But let's just see if this has enough to take it off of here. Just grabbing it. There it goes. All right, so we got that one off of there. I'm gonna grab the other one. Now, the other one's gonna be a little bit harder to get in the crack here. There we go, that one's off too. That one kind of broke apart. So now I'm just gonna switch back to the regular soldering iron, because I want to be able to put some fresh solder on it. That will make it a lot easier to install the new stuff, or the new capacitors. Now look, you can see there's a little piece of that capacitor still on there. That's okay. We're just gonna kind of add solder and move it around. It should come right off of there. Okay, we lost a pad. When I was just scraping right now, that whole pad came off. So let's figure out what's going on here, because that was already falling off. It was actually burnt. And so when I moved it around like that to clean it, it did just come unattached. Let me move it out of the way and see if we can get it reattached to where it's supposed to go. I don't want to lose it, so let me just grab it, move it out of the way. When we have a lot of heat in this area, oh, looks like it's still attached. Okay, let me see. I've got to figure out what we're looking at here. I can't tell, and it's gonna be hard to clean it up. I really want to just grab this and move it out of the way. But maybe I just need to turn this around and move this back this way. This is very small, so I'm kind of working, there we go, surgery. Okay, let me just move this out of the way. I don't want to lose this piece, because I want to be able to put it back. And put it right here. Okay, so let me wipe this down. I want to see what we're looking at. Now, I was being a little bit abrasive with it, because I needed to try to get the piece of the old capacitor off of there, and that's what ends up happening whenever you have something that burns itself. It almost welds itself to the board, and so you're kind of fighting with trying to get the other pieces off. Now, I didn't think it was going to rip off that easy, but it looks like it's just a pad that goes across here. Let's see. Okay, I can see the via there. Okay, we're good. We're good. Okay, those two are connected, and then these two are supposed to be connected across here and connects to that via right there. So I'm just going to solder that right back onto that via and just kind of put it off to the side, and then we'll put some new capacitors there. Now, at this point, the board should come on if it's fixed, if this is going to resolve the issue. I'm going to leave it the way it is right this second. Let me move this piece off of this chip and just move it out of the way and save it. And we're going to try to reattach that in a second. Now, I'm not putting it there yet, because we just want to figure out if the short's gone or if we're chasing our tail. Wait, let's see. Okay, that's ground. That's no short. Okay, so this side... Okay, so this side is ground that actually we're trying to attach to, which is good. and this is going to be our positive portion. Now, are these connected together? Those are connected together. So it's basically just a more of these in parallel. So this is connected together right here, and these are connected together right here. So we already have, looks like 3 capacitors there that are tied up to this. And then what about this? Yep, so we're just adding 2 more. Now, I don't know why they turned them sideways. It seems like they could have just went all the way across this way with it. And so worst case, we can just run a ground wire across here like that, and we'll have enough ground to get on there. If we can't get it attached to that, fine. But again, I'm not worried. We actually have 3 exactly in this area, and that will at least figure out if this is working to try to turn it on. I swear it looks suspicious, right? Are you there with me on that? And I do suspect that we definitely had some heat coming through here. We must have had full voltage coming through this line on its way over there. I wonder if that ties over there. That would make sense. Let's see. I'm suspecting that these tie together. So that's ground. That does not tie together. So I don't know why we have a lot of heat here. All right, we will replace that, but I just want to see if this board is going to start to try to come on. Some people will think that this is kind of a backwards way of doing stuff. You might as well replace all the parts. But if the board's not turning on yet, the capacitors aren't the cause or aren't preventing it from coming on. So you have to kind of think about, okay, well, now we have to figure out why it's not turning on, go through all the stuff, get the board turning on, and then we'll go back and finish out the capacitors. That's how we have to do it. Those are just more for filtering. They're not for startup. And we already have a couple on there. Okay, so let's keep an eye on the power meter, and I put the chart back up there for you. You ready? So I'm going to plug it in 3, 2, 1. So 0.02, and it's not turning on its own. Now I do have the battery unplugged, but this does have a CMOS battery, which will keep the date and time or the real-time clock. And if the CMOS battery was unplugged, this thing should boot up on its own. So we should be able to press the button, power button here. And we do have power coming on. And 3 amps, 2.5, went to 5 amps for a second. Now, and we got the Dell screen. We got the Dell screen. It's already up and running. So that's actually really good news, and it's booting the Windows. So we didn't have a Windows update that actually caused this. Now, the customer did think that Windows micro slop, right? Is that what we like to say? Caused this hardware damage. That did not happen. We just happened to have something that blew up exactly at that time. Now, we do have it to the Windows login screen. I'll go ahead and shut this back down. We're going to replace those 2 capacitors. We're going to have to rebuild that trace, and this laptop should be good to go. Okay, so let me pull this capacitor off because that was a suspicious one also. Like I said, I'm just doing it just out of safety, I guess. Not because the capacitor is bad, but just because I saw a lot of heat in this area, and that means it could fail in the future. And I give you your warranty on all my repairs, so we might as well just get it done while it's here, right? So I'm going to add a little bit of low heat here, and that will just kind of aid in getting the capacitor to melt the solder on there. And it feels a little weird. It almost feels like the trace is about to come off. So let me put some flux on there. Yeah, I don't want this whole trace to come off. If there was a lot of heat in this area, then we could have the trace coming off. Okay, so that did alleviate that issue. And I'll go ahead and pre-tin the pads just to have that ready to go. And you can definitely see some heat was in here, right? We're just going to have to assume that it was because these were shorted over here. All right, so how are we going to do this? So I think we're going to have to just see if we can tin that via, or I may just run the wire. The wire might be easier. Let's just see how much solder we can get onto this via here. Okay, I'm just going to see if I can get enough on here. If not, then I'm just going to run the wire. It's easy enough for me to do that. Yeah, I think the wire is the way we're going to go on this one. Since it is ground, it's not a big deal. Let's see what we want to do. I'm just going to run the wire across there, and then we'll have something to attach to. Let me hook it right here. Perfect. So I'm going to use this. This is 0.2 millimeter. So it's not super small, but it's not super big. I think it's a good compromise in size. This is not coated, so it makes it a lot easier to install because you don't have to try to take the coating off of there. But since it's not insulated, then we have to kind of be cautious of it touching other things. So we're just going to touch it like that. And then we're going to bend the corner here. Now this laptop can run without these capacitors. So am I wasting my time? I don't know. Just put a little bit more effort in and get it done. It's not that big of a deal to actually do this. So that's why I'm not concerned with spending this time to do this. All right, let me grab those capacitors. I'm going to hook them on there first, and then I'll break this excess wire off. I'm just going to make sure we don't have shorts in this area. I see some lines on these, but I think it's because of like measuring like this. You see how you can put little lines on there? So don't think that those are cracked. You can physically see cracks usually. All right, grab one at a time. Okay, there's one. This is a tight fit for this, so I may have to, let me think about how I want to get this installed. Because it's going to be tight to get down in there with this, the hot tweezers. And I need to move this wire out of the way a little bit. I was thinking I just want to put it there and then solder it later, but I probably should just solder these in place and then just solder that onto the back. That's what I think I'm going to do, actually. All right, I just kind of keep changing my plans here. All right, I think I'm just going to hook them together so they have more structural support. And it's okay if they're touching because they're on the same pad. There we go. And then we'll add some solder on this side, and then we can actually hook that wire across there and be done with it. Now I want to make sure this wire goes more straight and then turns. Remember, this is not a coated wire, and we're going to end up putting a UV mask on this at the end anyway. There we go. All right, that's in place, that's in place. And so this is the only area we need to protect. And I can break off this excess now, we don't need it. All right, let me clean up the area so we can kind of see what we're working with. And then we'll take some measurements and then we'll kind of finish that up. Now, you know, there's multiple ways of handling this. I could have just left them off, like I said. A lot of people actually would have just left them off, I think. I know Soren would have. He would have changed them out in another video, right? Well, it's one of those things, like whenever I think about not putting a capacitor back on, well, they're there for a reason, for one thing. And then the other thing is they blew up, so they were actually doing something, right? And I know you can kind of think, well, no capacitor, no explosion, or no issue. I would much rather replace them. All right, so we're just gonna take a measurement here. That's ground, that's positive. So we have no issue here, and then we'll just measure to make sure we have connection there. We do. So this whole area is the same side, and this whole area is the same. So let me go ahead and put some solder mask on here, and that will kind of clean that up and make it look a little bit better, and then we can reassemble the machine and finish testing. All right, this is just a little bit of UV curing solder mask. I'll just put this on here, and then we can cure it with a light, and that will clean that up. All right, so I'm gonna use this UV curing light here. I'll just put this on here for a few minutes and I'll be right back. All right, this is nice and cured now. I know that it's not the prettiest having those together like that, but it does kind of give it structural support. And having all the capacitors back the way it was kind of stock does help out. All right, and before I forget, let's install this one. I almost forgot all about it. So let me grab this one off this board here. All right, got that one off of there. Let's just get it transferred on here. I'm gonna add just a little bit of heat again. And I'll finish it up with a regular soldering iron. A lot of times these hot tweezers are very hard to get an accurate like kind of setting of the capacitor in the right position. They're more for convenience of just grabbing the entire thing and heating it up off of there and setting it down. But as for the finalizing of it, it's a little bit more difficult. It looks like it's in good position, but I don't think it's soldered down good enough. So we're gonna go ahead and just tack it again here. There we go, there's one side. All right, both sides are done. All right, we'll get it cleaned up. Let's go ahead and reassemble, and we'll just do a final boot. We'll run diagnostics, and this thing should be good to go. All right, got it booted back up, passed all diagnostics, so this one is A-OK. Happy to report it was not a Windows update, but I'm glad I was able to fix it, and I'd love to know your thoughts on this one, and thanks for watching.
I saved another laptop!